Hello, everyone. Welcome to BLT Recap and Analysis Week 2. I'm fresh off my loss to Osh and I fan, which I'm somewhat disappointed about, but I think I played not the best in the end, and some stuff could have been improved. Okay, but essentially, let's go right into the team because, um, just do what we usually do. So I'll start off with my ideas about the team because some people on my team really felt that I brought something bad or something, whatever. But the point is that I started off this team as literally, uh, I felt that I had, since I know Oshawott fan really well, and I felt he was going to bring something that was like good against what I'm bad against, or like good against what I normally bring. And something that I've classically struggled with in the past is Arceus ground. And so I wanted to start off with Celesteela because it also covered some of my other weaknesses that I like classically had against like like hyper offense, Psy spam, and Celesteela kind of provided like a blanket for these. And one Pokemon that Celesteela really struggles against is Ferrothorn, which I ended up playing against, which I thought Osh might bring. Celesteela also struggles against. Okay, so um, it it really doesn't like Eviltal as well with this specific spread because I'm not running very much Spadef, and it doesn't really check 3 attack Zern. So I added Poison Arceus because it provided just an overall blanket check for Zern. It provided a Leer for Ferrothorn because it's running Fire Blast, which ended up not really working out in my favor anyway. But this specific set is to spread poison because so between Celesteela, Arceus, and then later on I added Kyogre and Giratina-O. It's a pretty heavily focused on status team, which is like pretty much what I'm comfortable with bringing. So Arceus-Poison is a good way to like add a second mon to the team. It provides a blanket check to the meta because of its natural high bulk, as well as being invested in HP. And then its Sludge Bomb can punish pretty much all switch-ins. And I know that he like kind of liked Celesteela and Ferrothorn, so I brought Fire Blast over Earth Power. Um, and Sludge Bomb can punish a lot of Arceus-Poison switch-ins, such as Primal Groudon and Mega Sableye and just Arceus Ground and these Pokemon that normally would want to switch in, but like can get pretty hard punished because they don't like status very much. And the normal poison is actually extremely impactful. Zygarde complete as well, but it's not as affected by status as the other Pokemon are. So Arceus-Poison was my second Pokemon. It's holding Poisonium Z to give it a little bit more firepower and a potential finishing move, but in the end, I feel like on this team, maybe Toxic Plate might have been a better choice, but I'm not sure. Xerneas was chosen as the third mon because I struggled against HO with these first two, like somewhat heavily, and especially stuff like Eviltal, like offensive Eviltal, like especially Darkinium Z Eviltal was something I was extremely scared of. Xerneas provides like a kind of blanket check. It also gives me answers to Pokemon like Darkseus, which he ended up bringing, like Scarf Luna, to like an extent, and Scarf Eviltal to an extent, and these Pokemon, which I know might bring Scarf Eviltal against me. Um, so Xerneas, it also provides Aromatherapy, which is really important in resetting matchups, especially with Celesteela, because Celesteela really hates the 2 status that can be afflicted upon it, like the paralysis and the Will-O-Wisp, or the burn. Primal Groudon was chosen as my third mon because the first 3 are relatively weak to Ho-Oh, and so I had Stone Edge, Primal Groudon. Also, I kind of auto lost to Kyogre, especially offensive variants, defensive variants. Like Arceus can kind of deal with it to an extent, but not really. Um, and then I chose Toxic Primal Groudon because I was fearing Arceus Ground, but I probably should have brought Fire Punch, honestly, because I realized this is kind of overprepped for Arceus Ground. And slash Arceus Water. Arceus Water wasn't as big of a deal because I have Celesteela and Arceus-Poison, which are kind of just hard counters. And then the set specifically, I'm running Adamant because it gives kind of optimization. I can get as much because I wanted to OHKO Ho-Oh from defensive Ho from full HP, which he didn't end up bringing. He brought offensive Ho, so it doesn't matter. Stone Edge would have OHKO'd anyway. But essentially, it OHKO's defensive Ho-Oh from full health. And it gives an optimal EV spread, so you get as much EVs as you, essentially as much SPDEF without having to invest as much attack. And then Giratina, relatively standard. I chose Will-O-Wisp because I wanted to threaten Celesteela, since I didn't really have a good option versus Celesteela. And once again, it didn't end up going in my favor. I think it also like helps versus E-Killer, which was kind of a threat here, especially if it was like sub, which like Celesteela kind of deals with, but like Giratina, looking back on it, probably Thunderwave is a better play here, just because then I can threaten Ho-Oh or Toxic, but I didn't really want to break Toxic. Thunderwave could have threatened Celesteela, Ho-Oh, and like Magearna and those Pokemon, so definitely kind of an oversight on my part. I kind of just tunnel visioned on certain Pokemon that I felt that he was going to bring without looking at the overarching picture. And I definitely kind of accrued a big Ho weakness, which is shown in my match because if I'm not going to say that I played it well and then just RNG wasn't in my favor, but like I think RNG could have helped me out here, but it kind of showed how big of a Ho weakness I accrued because of the different aspects of my team that like I kind of should have slightly changed just to adapt to Ho-Oh more. Mainly the this is like the main thing. It's the thunder wave on Giratina. Um, Kyogre is next, and um, I don't think that it really needs explaining. The main reason I wanted to add Kyogre here, I originally had Mega Mewtwo X, but Kyogre pretty much provides a Pokemon that can spread more status, which at some point I realized is kind of overkill. Like I kind of wanted to be able to slot a Mega Gengar in here to abuse all of these status spreaders very well. I've got suggestions that they wanted me to switch Giratina O to Giratina A, but it really doesn't abuse status as well. And one of the main reasons that I think Giratina O is really strong in this current meta is because it provides a large amount of roll compression because it between its two stabs, it can threaten the majority of the meta. And especially on teams that have a lot of status support like this, where every Pokemon on my team except for Xerneas, and even Xerneas with Thunder Paralysis, can threaten the meta, can threat like with status support, Giratina O can threaten the entire metagame offensively while providing a huge defensive backbone because it is a vital switch into Primal Groudon that many teams lack. And especially Giratina O here, it allows my team not to get 6-0'd by SD Groudon. SD Fire Punch Groudon is really threatening. Double Dance Groudon is what I mean. And even to an extent, just Jolly SD with 3 attacks really threatens my team. While special Giratina is kind of a softer check, I do have Kyogre, which is like a pretty good check versus special. And Kyogre really patches up the special RP matchup, but it also provides a lot of pressure versus Pokemon like Ho-Oh, which eventually didn't end up going super well because I did let Kyogre get weakened, which was a really big mistake on my part. But okay, let's just get into the match because I'm pretty sure I showed off most of my team. Yeah, so some some of my teammates just being pissed because I brought Giratina-O. I mean, you can be pissed about it, but whatever. Who cares? Okay, so I lead Arceus-Poison. This is gonna be like a longer video probably because the match is a little bit longer. I lead Arceus because I know that his team. Well, okay, I was kind of fearing a Pedon lead, but I really see Sableye lead, and I don't think that he really thinks that I would like Sableye lead here is safe, and for him, outside of the potential possibility of like Life Orb um, Xerneas, because Life Orb Xerneas would threaten his entire team extremely hard. Um, but I think it ended up being fine. So I did open with Arceus-Poison because I know that the Sludge Bomb can be a hugely impactful move, as you see here. The crit doesn't really matter, but I brought it brought Zygarde into Poison, which is huge. Um, and the Poison essentially it marks one of the 6 mons with status, and I want every one of the 6 mons to be marked with status. I go for Toxic, expecting Pedon, but he goes Ferrothorn as a safe play. He goes for Leech Seed. I just rest to get rid of the paralysis. I essentially am trying to fish for the Scald Burn, and he goes to Primal Groudon knowing this. And then I just switch out into Giratina-O, and he predicts this with the Arceus Dark, which he reveals. Since before this, it was a safe play. He has nothing on his team that can really threaten it, so he does go Arceus Dark. I go Celesteela, predicting the Toxic, and then I go into Primal Groudon, he double Toxics. And I switch out, knowing that Pedon loses the matchup versus Arceus. Because I was predicting him to go Ho-Oh, I believe, or Ferrothorn, essentially, because my team doesn't deal with Ferrothorn super well, outside of Xerneas and Xerneas HP Fire, and Arceus-Poison Fire Blast. So Celesteela can do nothing back to Ferrothorn, so I can't really. So I go Giratina, and he goes Arceus Dark again, which don't know if he was predicting that one, but he goes for the Judgment on Arceus. I just go for the safe recover as he goes Ferrothorn. He scouts Fire Blast here, which I'm actually kind of confused about because I'm really surprised he would go Ferrothorn and then instantly switch in this situation. I guess he was anticipating me going Groudon, Giratina maybe, I'm not sure. But he goes Ho-Oh, which is weird. So I go, I click the Fire Blast, it misses, it doesn't matter, it missed. I go Sludge Bomb because I want to poison Ho-Oh. Against his team is very threatening versus mine, but if I can get Ferrothorn, and if I can get Ho-Oh status, Giratina can like almost clean from there, with the only exception really being Arceus Dark, which I have Xerneas and Kyogre for. And if Xerneas can come in, then it can like really stall out Pokemon because of this toxic. The status that would be like accruing damage on them as well. So, oh shit. On the Primal Groudon, I just go Giratina, safe play. He goes Lava Plume. He doesn't get the burn. Not a huge deal. I go for the Defog on the Ferrothorn, and I click Will-O-Wisp because like I said before, against Ferrothorn, one of my win conditions is that I need to status the Ferrothorn. I need to status the Ho-Oh in this matchup. Statusing Mega Sableye also helps, but it's not required since Mega Sableye can't really do that much back to Giratina. I've speed creeped for Zygarde, and it ends up that Ho-Oh is faster than me, which is because he creeped. He didn't even creep, it was just max speed Ho-Oh. But he goes Ho-Oh. He pretty much knows that Ferrothorn versus Giratina doesn't really do anything, so he's predicting Hex, goes Ho-Oh. I go Kyogre. I wanted to rest on Pharaoh, actually, predicting him to protect or something similar. But he actually goes Ho-Oh, and I go to Kyogre, and he goes Pharaoh, and I just predict that and go to Arceus. And he knows I'm Fire Blast at this point, so I just click Sludge Bomb. I'm hoping to catch something on the switch, but nothing ends up being caught. So I just go back to Kyogre, and I'm expecting... The reason why I switched here, it was actually an extremely pivotal turn. I expected him to go... to use Groundium Z because he hasn't revealed an item yet, and I was expecting Groundium Z. Like, I don't know why. So I will go Giratina, which is like a safe play. Because even if he clicks 1,000 Arrows, there's no... You can't really punish me for going Giratina, because it won't do that much damage. It's like bad for me, but like still manageable. So I go Giratina. It ends up he goes Pedon. If I rested on that turn, it would have been massive, because I would have pretty much gotten a free switch to Giratina the turn after anyway. And so then I mean, essentially I'm put into a position right now where I have offensive Giratina in. Doesn't help a ton because he does have Arceus Dark. If I had rest Kyogre, and Kyogre's at full health, it allows me to check Ferrothorn much better, because I no longer have to fear other Pokemon coming in. It checks Zygarde much better, it checks Mega Sableye completely, just walls both Ferrothorn and Mega Sableye. And, but I'm put into a position where Kyogre's at low health, which is extremely bad for my team because I don't have a real way of threatening Ho-Oh outside of Arceus-Poison poisoning it and then just recovering until it dies, which really sucks. So he knows he's in a bad situation. I go for Hex, does no damage to Ho-Oh, and then I go to Arceus-Poison because I know my only condition of winning is to killing Ho is going to Arceus-Poison, because at this point I know that Ho is going to be creeped for something, and Kyogre's 0 speed, because you can't run speed on Kyogre at this point. And it's extremely vital that I save it. So I go Arceus-Poison, because I know Ho is not going to be carrying anything except for... And he hasn't revealed his set yet, so I was expecting it to be banned. Ends up it's not banned. But I go Arceus-Poison, he goes Ferrothorn. Honestly, I feel like this was like kind of a bad play on his part, but not a huge deal, as he wanted to deal with, I think, I don't know, Xerneas? Kyogre? I'm not exactly sure. But I essentially... Okay, so I go for the Fire Blast on Sableye, and these next few turns are extremely crucial, because I'm fishing very, very hard to get a Sludge Bomb Poison, because a Sludge Bomb Poison on Sableye, a Sludge Bomb Poison on Ho-Oh are both game-winning poisons. I essentially don't get it so many turns in a row, which is extremely disappointing. So I don't get it on this, and I go all out here and click my Poisonium Z, which was a bad play. I 100% should not have made this play, because it like kind of threw me the game. Like, I should not have clicked the Poisonium Z, and I should have saved it for a later point. But I click it. He goes for Judgment. I just sack Arceus. I don't actually know why I sacked Arceus here. I definitely should have won Xern. Xern is completely safe versus Arceus, especially since he's already revealed Toxic. So I click Moonblast, and he goes Pharaoh. I lose a lot of these 50-50s with Xern, which ends up, like, if I did win a lot of these, then it would have extremely helped my situation. He clicks Leech Seed on Pharaoh, and I go for P-Blades on Sableye. This is kind of a bad play by me, because I knew Sableye was coming in, but I stayed in with Groudon. I should have gone to Kyogre. I should have gone to Xern, one of those two options. Xern then puts me into another 50-50, or like, not necessarily 50-50, but essentially I have to predict what he's going to do next, because if I predict right, I can get a kill. If I predict wrong, then I'm put into a losing position. But I can take that chance. Or I go Kyogre, I rest, and I come back into an advantageous position, because Kyogre is extremely good in this scenario. So I had like, okay, so let's just go back. So like I said, I had a lot of chances to win the game, essentially. Okay, so that's one Sludge Bomb. I had 2 chances to get Ho-Oh. I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 Sludge Bombs on Sableye, 2 on Ho-Oh. Both of these would have been impacting. These 7 Sludge Bombs that didn't poison were very bad for me. The one on Zygarde is the least impactful. In fact, I actually probably like didn't need it at all out of all of them. The one on Piton was like helpful. Shouldn't have stacked Arceus here. That was a bad play. I lose the 50-50. Any 50-50s, I don't consider those bad plays unless I like know that it's like not a viable 50-50 essentially. I then go for HP Fire. He goes for Will-O-Wisp on Zern. We essentially both predict wrong. Whatever, it's not that big of a deal. He goes Ho-Oh on HP Fire because he knows I'm choice at this point. I go Celesteela on his Groudon switch, which once again I'm not sure because he's actually playing very safe with Ho-Oh. I think he doesn't want it to take a lot of extra damage when it's not necessary. So I go Gira on Groudon because it's safe. He goes Arceus, and I just go to Celesteela on the Judgment because I know it's safe. I click a Heavy Slam because I know Sableye's coming in. Crit doesn't matter at all. And then he goes Sacred Fire. I know I live 1 because of the +1 defense from Beast Boost. So I just click Leech Seed, and then once again here I lose another 50-50. I go Groudon, expecting him to go to click Recover or switch to Ferrothorn, but he doesn't. So I really wanted Rocks there. If I got Rocks there, this would have been a pretty critical play. So if I protected there, then I would have won this 50-50. I could have brought in Groudon later after, and I could have gone, like, if I essentially played this 50-50 correct, and then I could have, like, essentially gotten something off it. But it ends up I don't. I sack Piton, which was an extremely critical Pokemon in this matchup because if I did get the Stealth Rocks off, he would be pressured into defogging with Arceus, or just leaving Rocks up, and that's really bad for his Ho-Oh. So I do find an opportunity to get Kyogre to rest, but it ends up putting me in an unadvantageous position because he has the advantage when I have to rest. And I bring it in on Ferrothorn because Ferrothorn can't do anything back to me. I then go Giratina on Piton. Once again, 100% safe play. There's nothing Piton can do to Giratina other than burn it, which in this generation isn't extremely effective. This play right here is what lost me the game. I 100%. I had a win. I had a pretty much guaranteed win at this point. Not even pretty much guaranteed. I had a good chance of winning this game until I made this play, because Kyogre had no real switch-ins. If I could get it in against Ferrothorn or Zygarde, or essentially I just needed it to not wake up. What I could have done is there are 2 options that I could have done. I essentially needed to get either A, Kyogre into Ferrothorn and wake it up in 1 or 2 turns. The other option is I needed to get Xerneas in and Aromatherapy. And both of these options are extremely viable because, or I could even just try to get Kyogre in against Ho-Oh 1v1 because there's no way he's going to risk Ho-Oh even on his Sleep Talk roll. So any of these situations would be good. And if I could get these, so Kyogre would be at full health and awake, or even into like a favorable situation, because his Arceus Dark is actually not as important to him winning as my Kyogre is to my winning. So his Vital Mon to winning is Ho-Oh, and my Vital Mon to winning is Kyogre. So he can't let his Ho-Oh get status because it essentially is put into a bad situation, and the Pokemon it needs to check, it no longer can check when it's statused. Kyogre, on the other hand, I just need it to be healthy and not asleep at some point. Getting status doesn't matter because rest can solve these issues. But I make a really risky play, and it ends up not going in my favor, and rightfully so because it's not a good play. So if I did this correctly, then I don't think I would have lost here. But I end up not clicking the correct move, and this is a really bad play in my opinion because I definitely like what makes this play much worse for me is that I know I had a guaranteed switch in to what he was gonna do, because if I clicked Aroma on Xern, if I just went Xern instead of going Kyogre and I clicked Aroma, if I even just went for the 50-50, then I would have had a much better shot at winning this game, because Kyogre being at full health is much more important to me than Xern is at this stage in the game. Since Ferrothorn is already toxic, clicking HP Fire versus it isn't going to be the hugest game swing ever. Giratina O with Hex is going to be the way I'm going to kill it most likely. But losing Kyogre at this stage of the game, or weakening it to the point where I pretty much lost it, is huge. It's terrible. It's terrible. And I also make a bad play right here. So I click HP Fire. Oh no, I click Aroma. This is the right play to make. And on Zygarde, I go Gira. He goes Ho-Oh. This is fine for me. He Toxics me. I click Draco. I don't really have much options, as Ho-Oh has already pretty much won the game. If these 5 turns before I had managed to make the correct play, he's playing super scared, which I personally don't understand because Ho-Oh has already won at this point. Unless he lets Kyogre rest again. And I'm going to try to make that happen. But he obviously knows what the play is, so he just kills Kyogre with Ho-Oh. And at this point I've lost. There's pretty much no way unless he throws the game. So I click HP Fire because I know he's not going to risk the Thunder, Para, or whatever. Whatever. So I pretty much chalk this game up to 2 main mistakes and then 1 RNG side that could have still won me the game. So the first one is on turn 62. The first mistake was with Arceus-Poison. On turn 41, sacking Arceus-Poison, 100% not the play, because I needed Arceus-Poison to continue to poison spread, and getting more chances at Sludge Bombing Ho would have been helpful. The previous turns before then, if I could get a poison on Sableye on Ho-Oh, would have definitely helped me win the game. However, that's not something something I can control. So if I ended up losing a clean game where I didn't lose because of RNG, then I'm fine with that. Like, that's just, he outplayed me. He won the 50-50s where it needed to be. He brought a better team than me, whatever. Those things, I'm okay with that. If I misplayed on my own, this is one of them that I definitely shouldn't have misplayed on. And actually, it ended up that both of my misplays came on Arceus Dark. And the other one is the Kyogre one, which I went over, and pretty much on why I lost the game because of that. And I don't think there's really much to watch after this because Ho-Oh just wins. Yeah, so I lose, but 2 main mistakes and 1 big RNG thing that kind of didn't go in my favor that ended up losing me the game more. But I think it was a great game. I'm pretty happy with the team I brought. I think it's a good team, regardless of whatever the fuck other people want to say about it. I think he brought a very solid team that worked well against me. Actually, it's one of the type of teams that I was really afraid of facing. It was the this archetype of Mega Sableye balance with Ho-Oh and Zygarde. So I give props to him for team preparation. Um, so overall, I want to say it was a good game, and I definitely should have played this game a lot better. The two big misplays were extremely game impacting. I lost quite a few 50-50s as well, a lot more than I normally do, so that's also bad, but I'm not going to say winning 50-50s isn't something I should rely on to win the game. I shouldn't be losing 100% plays like that. So, with that said, um, that's the episode. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys for the next week, where I might actually be playing doubles or another tier or OU. So I maybe don't expect an Ubers video next week. Um, yeah. Thanks for watching.